And I apologize for not having said something sooner. I just felt like I was getting these messages from people who like were hurt by them, and I felt like by bringing more attention to it, I was just going to be hurting more people.
So Brooke Schofield, if you haven't already seen, has been being exposed for racist tweets that she had made. I think she said she was about 17, and then prior to that,
she's racist, like white nepo baby, like a little like spoiled brat, like. And that was not my situation. And my parents were addicts, so I was adopted by my grandparents when I was like 10, and I grew up with them from that point on. And as is true for a lot of grandparents, they're a little bit less progressive than a lot of us are now.
Now, funnily enough, well, not very funny in this case, I actually made a video about this months ago. These tweets do the rounds over on Reddit. So these tweets have been circulating, and I feel like every so often they recirculate again and new waves of people see them and then want her to say something. Unlike all the other times, this is the only time she's ever publicly addressed them. Now, these tweets, I can't read many of them. I'll have some problems with YouTube. They're not very nice to repeat. They're absolutely horrible. I don't feel like her excuse of, oh, well, I was raised by my grandparents and they were very non-progressive, right-wing conservative, which is verbatim what she has been saying. I don't feel like that flies.
As a now former cancel podcast watcher, I have to say that those tweets are ridiculous. And the apology is even worse. Like, sorry, but my grandparents just were not progressive, so... Like, I get growing up in a household and being raised in that lifestyle or that mindset, but I also don't get it. I think that just goes to show that you cannot place your own personal morals and principles onto other people on the internet, because at the end of the day, we just don't know them. No, it doesn't take a lot to not be a racist, but we just assumed that she wasn't. We just placed the title of being a generally good person on her. She never asked for that or, like, did anything to get it.
She actually said after she finished college, which I think is what we call university over here, her views had changed. However, there's now new tweets that I saw on the H3 podcast, which have then been circulating, is just going against everything that she was saying in one of her apology videos.
I wrote my college thesis on racial disparities, so how things like socioeconomic standing, health, housing, income, and so many other things can be affected by your race.
I started faking liberal views when writing college papers, and it's so concerning how much my grades have improved since.
Ooh, that one's pretty bad.
That's like math.
Girl, you are cooked. I've always believed that people who are racist suffer from mental illness, and it's not an excuse. And here's why. You need to go to therapy, and you need to unpack, unwind the trauma that you experienced as a child of your parents, convincing you that you need to be fearful and see another human being to be inferior to you just because they do not look like you. Exhibit A, the fact that she wrote a whole college thesis, which means she took hours and days and weeks to do research, to look into studies, evidence and proof of how race drastically affects people in this country. So the fact that she took the time to do all this research and she still is as ignorant as she is validates my theory that their brains are caca and that it'll take more than education to rewire their brain for the inherent racism that's in them.
So this is just a little taster, and this is going to be one of the ones that you would have heard quite a lot of. If you would like to go and look at all of the tweets, I will leave a video which I did months ago on Brooke's tweets. I will leave it linked in the description box. You can go and have a little look. Basically, she said, guarantee if Zimmerman shot a white guy, this wouldn't even be a story. Newsflash, this wasn't a crime of racism, it was self-defense. Which is just absolutely deplorable. If you know the history behind what she's talking about, yeah, absolutely deplorable. And those are the kind of things that she would be saying, and she would be sharing her political opinions and saying a variety of different things about various minorities. I mean, she was just letting it all out there. She was also fat shaming a lot of people and being homophobic, using the F word and stuff like that, which is not brilliant. So she has basically been re-exposed for these tweets.
Truthfully, it took me a really long time. Like, I know some of the tweets I was like 18 and people are like, yeah, like she was old enough to know better. And like, honest to God, you guys, it wasn't until like even after college that I really started to like shift my way of thinking.
So Brooke has known that people have been annoyed at her for a little while, and I'll give some context into that because in my last video, my original video on this, which was a little while ago, people were bringing it up on Reddit. Now, Brooke, prior to that moment, had actually gotten on her account, it was confirmed as Brooke, to reply to the mass amount of people who were very annoyed. And this was ages ago. So she has known that people know of these tweets, and allegedly she was like paying people off to take Reddit posts down. I don't know how true that is. That is just what people have been saying. On here it's literally saying like 1 year ago, but it's been more than that. So on the cancelled pod, which is Brooke and Tana Mojo, ironically enough, Tana Mojo has also made tweets that are fairly similar as well. I mean, birds of a feather flock together, of course. We be knowing that she has been knowing that people are annoyed, and I just have this inkling that because she's all of a sudden blown up in popularity, her follower list is in the millions now, she's getting a ton of money, she now cannot sweep it underneath the rug. So whether or not she is apologising actually because her views have changed, or if she doesn't want it to affect her bag, we will never know. I hadn't seen the Zimmerman tweets when I wrote about bad jokes, and that obviously could never be dismissed as a bad joke. It was a horrible take that I probably wholeheartedly believed at that time. I was wrong. I have spoken openly before about what I was taught growing up versus what I believe now. Growing up, it was just me and my grandpa, an 80-year-old conservative man who played Rush Limbaugh through the house all day. I don't know anything about politics as a teenager, but I would listen to him and other people around me and piece together these opinions when I truly had no idea what I was talking about. I wanted to feel like I was in the know without doing any actual research, and as ashamed as I am to admit it, I didn't start to understand how wrong a lot of it was until I was an adult. Once I moved to LA and was fully on my own was when I finally started actively learning and began to form my own opinions. But I understand what a privilege it is to get all the way to adulthood without having to really learn or care about politics. Most people do not have that luxury, and while of course I am grateful to know what I know now, I wish I put in the effort sooner. I am sorry about the tweets, and I am sorry to everyone who is hurt or disappointed by them. I am too, and I will do better. But not enough for her to actually address it publicly. She then said, when people were asking her, are you ever going to address it? She said, I will absolutely address, especially if people are hurt by them. I have talked about it a few times before, how I look back on things I used to think were funny and normal jokes to make, and I'm just as disturbed as you are. I don't think it's normal. I don't think it's okay just because I was kidding or young. I think it's gross and horrible. I love you all, and I do take accountability. I hate when people say things like, I didn't know better, or anything along those lines, but I don't want to come across that way at all. But I truly thought I was anti-racist at that time. You can find tweets from the same time frame where I'm saying things like, I don't care if you're cute and old, being racist is ugly. I just thought I was being funny, and I absolutely wasn't. I know differently now, and I try to make that known the best I can. There are family members I haven't spoken to since 2020 when I realised where they stood during Black Lives Matter. I've grown into myself and my own belief system outside of what I grew up around. I love you guys, and I'm sorry to anyone who was hurt reading those. It was never funny. So she was aware, and this was over a year ago. People were telling her on Reddit, and she still didn't address it. So she has been told for a little while. These posts are popping off. She made one video where she basically blamed it on her upbringing. She then made the second video where it was taken a bit better, where she turned around and said, you know, I don't want my whole feed and my comment section to be white people saying we forgive you because that doesn't matter. I want minorities, people of colour. I want this to be for them. I don't want this to just be for white people to say, oh, it doesn't matter.
Reflecting and looking back on it, and I do agree with everyone that I missed the mark. Put something out as soon as I physically could so that nobody thought I was ignoring the situation or didn't realize how important it was. The most important thing is that I'm so sorry, specifically to Black people and the other people of color who were offended by my tweets, okay? Because obviously I'm seeing a lot of positivity in the comments and people saying that they forgive me, and it's all white people. And that's how I know I did not address this properly at all.
However, right after this, or during this, literally during this controversy, she liked, and I'm pretty sure Tana did as well, she liked a post that was of Trump when he was with, is it Aiden Ross, that guy? She was liking pictures during that time. So during the time that she is meant to be apologising and doing all this and that, she then goes and likes a load of Donald Trump and Aiden Ross's pictures and things. Anyway, I'm not the biggest person I don't know a ton of stuff about American politics. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I do. I live on the planet. I'm aware of what's going on.
Before this gets any further, I have publicly stated my support for Kamala since she's been in the running, okay? And I still stand behind that. I know how stupid it looks that I liked that post today, and I literally want to kick myself in the fucking face for it, but it was like mindless. I literally was on an airplane scrolling. I saw the last person in the entire world that I would think would be in the room with Trump. So I was like, this is crazy. And I liked the post. Worst timing ever. So fucking stupid. Not a Trump supporter. Okay? Period. I am not a Trump supporter.
Then land back to the bit that I was just saying, where she tried to use the fact that she had to do this whole thesis, college fit thesis, which is like a dissertation. I think that's what the comparison is. She was trying to use that as a point to prove that she's not racist and that she understands the political nature of, you know, what people of colour and minorities have to go through. So she was trying to make that her point. However, as we're about to find out in a minute, I don't know why she said this, or why she didn't go back and recheck her tweets again, because she didn't do that.
I started faking liberal views when writing college papers, and it's so concerning how much my grades have improved since.
Ooh, that one's pretty bad.
That's like math.
That's just dumb. Like, that's for sure not true, by the way.
Have a soul in your body, basically. You know that saying that kind of stuff, thinking that kind of stuff, is completely abhorrent and it's wrong. And just to the point where I just don't even really know what to say about it. I will be honest, I think that the only reasoning why she has come out and apologised publicly for the first time, given it's been a little while, is because she is scared that it is getting her bag. She's scared of her money because she's making a lot of money, because people were saying, you know, put your money where your mouth is. Are you really that sorry? It's all about action. She donated to the Trayvon Martin Foundation, and it says up here she donated $10,000, which is an amazing amount of money. But I feel that she's only doing this because she has been pushed into a corner, because it's not as if she wrote those tweets and then forgot about them and it's been like years later and she's like, oh my god, I am a disgusting human being, why would I ever think that? Every single few months / every single year, she is reminded of this on Reddit.
Like I said, I think reparations are more important than apologies. So I have already donated to the Trayvon Martin Foundation. Literally the first thing I did. And I'm doing my research. I'm looking into other communities and foundations that I can help with, and I will continue to do that.
And even she has said that she tries to avoid Reddit because she doesn't like the drama, but she has responded to people on Reddit about this. I feel that because the amount of backlash has gotten so much, she now feels that she has to say something. Do I think she's remorseful? Yeah, but is that because she's just saying it because she's being pushed into a corner? You're never going to know unless you're actually in her mind. Do you kind of feel like it's a bit performative? You know, is an apology and what isn't? It's not aimed at me. But I can still feel upset for the people who are affected by it. And on my own personal opinion, I don't know. I feel like she can apologise, but I would be very sceptical of where that apology is coming from. The rambly video, I just really wanted to talk about this because I talked about it ages ago and I was really surprised that not enough people were talking about it. So it's strange that only now she is talking about it despite knowing about it for a very long time. I hope you guys have a wonderful day wherever you are in this world. Take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and I'll catch up with you guys in the next video.